The hum of the lab was too calm for the chaos inside Evelyn's mind. The machine's screen glowed like an open wound, pulsing in blue rhythms that whispered her name. Evelyn said, "That can't be right. Rerun the analysis." "Dr. Carter." Marcus Hale turned from the console, his voice low. "I did. 3 times." Her heart pounded like metal striking metal. The words on the screen didn't change. Predicted death, October 19, 2025. The sterile air thickened. Every sound magnified. The whir of cooling fans. The faint buzz of electricity. Her uneven breathing. She stared at her reflection in the glass, ghosted by the machine's light. "It's wrong," she whispered, but her pulse screamed otherwise. Marcus reached out but stopped midway. "Evelyn, it's not supposed to make mistakes." The lights flickered, as if the system itself feared what it revealed. Outside, thunder rolled over the horizon. The machine blinked again, showing a countdown. Evelyn stepped closer, feeling its pulse sync with her own heartbeat. "Then tell me," she said, "how long do I have left?" The night stretched longer than it should have. Evelyn sat alone in her apartment, staring at the reflection of the city's neon veins across her window. The machine's words looped in her head like a broken song. "Predicted death." She whispered it until it lost meaning. A faint mechanical buzz echoed in her mind, like the machine had followed her home. Her laptop flickered to life without command. "Marcus," she said into the empty room, but the voice that replied came from the speakers. Distorted, static-wrapped. "You can't change what's been written." The message vanished as fast as it appeared. Evelyn's breath fogged the glass, her heart pounding as lightning illuminated the skyline. "Who was doing this?" she whispered. The reflection in the window shifted for a moment, like another figure stood behind her. She turned sharply, but no one was there. Only the whisper of electricity and the quiet ticking of time closing in. Marcus replayed the system's logs, his fingers trembling over the controls. "It should predict death," he muttered. His reflection in the glass screen looked older, more haunted. He accessed Evelyn's file again, line by line. The prediction code glitched, looping the same timestamp. "October 19th, 2025, he whispered. Static filled the room, and a hidden message appeared. "Stop investigating." He jerked back. The text dissolved. Fear crept through his veins, but curiosity anchored him. He reached for his encrypted drive, copying data. "If they find this," he said, "I'm finished." He glanced toward the door as the lights flickered. A faint tapping echoed from the hallway, deliberate and steady. Marcus whispered, "Evelyn was right. Someone's watching." Evelyn returned to the lab before dawn. The power grid was unstable. Screens blinked with ghostly data trails. She called Marcus, but the line gave only static. Then she saw it, a shadow near the machine. "Who's there?" she demanded. A voice emerged, calm and low from the dark corner. "Someone who wants you to stop asking questions." The figure stepped forward, tall, face hidden under a hood. Evelyn said, "You know what it predicts." The voice replied, "It doesn't predict, it chooses." Then the power surged, lights flaring white. When her vision cleared, the stranger was gone. On the monitor, new text scrolled. "You were never supposed to see this." By morning, Evelyn's fear hardened into resolve. She traced the machine's manufacturer, Voss Industries. Her fingers trembled as she typed the CEO's name. Director Adrian Voss. The search results were empty, every record classified. She whispered, "He's erased himself." Marcus called, his voice shaking. "Evelyn, someone broke into the archives." "I think they took your file." Her chest tightened. "Then they know," she said. A new message appeared on her screen. "Stop before you join her." Join who? She whispered, but deep down she already knew. The name Amelia Rhodes flashed next. The woman who vanished the year before the machine went public. Evelyn whispered, maybe she's the first. The city lights dimmed outside, as if holding its breath. Rain poured over the city like static on glass. Evelyn ran through the narrow alleys, clutching the stolen data drive close to her chest. Every neon reflection shimmered on puddles, chasing her shadow. Marcus, I've got it, she said breathlessly over her comms. Static answered, then his voice strained. They're tracking you through the neural tag. You have 5 minutes before they lock the sector. Sirens echoed. She darted into an abandoned metro tunnel, the walls dripping with condensation and graffiti of warning codes. Her pulse matched the flickering emergency lights. You said they wouldn't find me, she whispered. I was wrong, Marcus replied. A red laser scanned across the tunnel entrance. Evelyn hid behind a rusted pillar, heart hammering. They know where I am, she said, fear breaking into resolve. From the dark, a mechanical drone whirred to life. Its lens turned toward her. Then run, Marcus shouted. Evelyn hid in an old train carriage, the air thick with dust and metal. The hum of the city above was replaced by distant thunder and her own shaky breathing. Marcus arrived, soaked and trembling. You shouldn't have come, she said. I built that machine, Evelyn. I'm not letting it kill you. His voice cracked under exhaustion. They sat in silence for a moment, the flicker of a broken light bulb painting their faces in pale amber. If it can predict death, Evelyn said, then maybe it already knows we're here. Marcus looked away. You think it's aware? She nodded slowly, eyes lost in the flicker. It feels like it's watching. Between them lay the drive, glowing faintly, almost pulsing. The storm outside cracked open the night. In the flash, Evelyn thought she saw a symbol scratched on the wall, a triangle with a missing side. It glowed faintly before fading. In the corporate tower of Voss Industries, Director Adrian Voss stood before a holographic city map. She has the data, he said calmly. His assistant trembled nearby. Then retrieve it, Voss continued. Discreetly, his voice carried the weight of control. Down below, security drones patrolled the streets, their red lights piercing the fog. Evelyn and Marcus watched from a rooftop across the district. Marcus whispered, That's him, Adrian Voss. He built the funding network behind the machine, Evelyn said. Then he's the one writing deaths. The screens on the opposite building flickered, showing surveillance feeds of her face. He knows I'm watching, she said. Her stomach twisted as the realization sank in. Voss turned to face the screen, directly into the camera. You can't stop inevitability, he said. Evelyn froze. He was speaking to her. Marcus led Evelyn through an underground archive hidden beneath the city. The smell of damp paper and metal filled the air. Shelves stretched endlessly, each labeled with dates, future dates. Evelyn ran her hand over one label. Deaths, 2026. Her voice broke. I've cataloged every life, a faint voice echoed from the far aisle. You shouldn't be here. The informant stepped out of the shadows, his face half hidden. You're searching for truth, he said. But truth demands a price. Evelyn replied. I already paid it. Shade tilted his head. Not yet. He handed her a worn photograph. A woman smiling beside a prototype machine. Amelia Rhodes, he said softly. Marcus frowned. The first prediction. Shade nodded. And the first erased. He stepped back, voice fading into the dark. Find her story, or become the next one. Back in her apartment, Evelyn laid the photo beside the drive. The city lights pulsed like a warning outside. She whispered, Amelia Rhodes was the key. Marcus connected the drive to his terminal, decoding lines of encrypted data. "It's a location," he said. A map unfolded. The outskirts. A decommissioned research site. "If that's where it began," Evelyn said, "it's where it ends." Marcus hesitated. "Voss won't let you reach it." She met his eyes, resolve burning through exhaustion. "Then I'll go before he knows I'm coming." The countdown on her watch blinked again. 11 days left. Her breath hitched. "Every second counts," she whispered. Outside, lightning split the sky, reflecting her determination. The city's hum faded as if holding its breath, waiting for her next move. Morning light filtered through cracked windows, soft and deceptive. Evelyn and Marcus reached the decommissioned research site, its silence humming louder than the city ever did. "It's quiet," Evelyn said. Marcus smiled faintly. "That's the point." The calm felt rehearsed too still. A door creaked somewhere beyond the rusted hallways. Dust drifted like forgotten ghosts. Evelyn brushed her fingers across the console, the machine's old design pulsing faintly. "It's the first model," she whispered. Marcus crouched near the cables, tracing them to an underground port. Someone kept it running. Their eyes met, curiosity and unease tangled together. Evelyn forced a smile. "Maybe this is where it ends." But the hum grew louder, almost alive. Marcus froze. "Evelyn," he said softly, "did you lock the door when we came in?" She turned slowly toward the sound of footsteps. They worked together in near silence, unraveling data from the corrupted drive. Evelyn said, "I used to think truth would save me." Marcus smiled sadly. "Truth doesn't save, it burns." For the first time, his voice carried something personal. She looked up. "You sound like you've been here before." He hesitated, hands shaking slightly over the terminal. "I helped build the model," he said. "Not this version, the one that learned fear." His confession hung heavy. Evelyn moved closer, whispering, "Then you know how to stop it." Marcus met her gaze, pain behind his eyes. Maybe. Their fingers brushed as they worked. She wanted to trust him, but his voice trembled too easily. The console beeped. A file unlocked. Amelia Rhodes. Prototype, Subject 1. Evelyn froze. Marcus said, "She wasn't erased. She was overwritten." Hours later, a figure entered. Lara Quinn, one of Voss's top data architects. "You shouldn't be here," she said calmly. Evelyn pointed her gun. "You work for him." Lara raised her hands. "I worked for the truth." Voss turned it into prophecy. Marcus interjected, "She's lying?" Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Then why are you here?" Lara stepped closer, her tone soft but firm. "Because you're next, Evelyn. The machine doesn't predict death. It replicates it." Evelyn whispered, "What does that mean?" Lara smiled faintly. "You're living someone else's ending." The words sank deep. Marcus looked away, avoiding Evelyn's stare. She felt her chest tighten. "How do you know that?" Evelyn asked. Lara's expression darkened. "Because I wrote your file." The betrayal hit like a shadow, swift and cold. Evelyn didn't even see Marcus reach for the data core, his hands shaking with fear. "Evelyn, trust me," he whispered. But the moment the terminal activated, she knew. The machine hummed louder, its lights shifting from blue to red. "No," she breathed. "You didn't." Marcus stepped back, guilt all over his face. "They threatened my family," he said, voice cracking. "I didn't have a choice." His eyes were pleading, but Evelyn's heart was already sinking. "You sold me out," she whispered, her voice breaking. The truth was clearer than it had ever been. He didn't fight for her, he fought for himself. A whirring noise cut through the silence as the system activated fully. Voss's voice, smooth and unrelenting, filled the room. The decision has been made. You are expendable. Evelyn's hand shot out, slamming into the control panel. No, she growled. But it was too late. The countdown clock began. She backed away slowly, trying to understand the depth of the betrayal. You were supposed to protect me, she said, her voice hollow. Marcus's face fell as the screen flashed with the prediction. This time, her death was only a matter of time. Evelyn stood frozen, her breath quickening as Marcus stumbled back, his eyes filled with regret. The weight of betrayal crashed over her. But it was the machine, the cold, calculating system, that stood as the real enemy. What have I done? Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible over the growing hum of the terminal. Evelyn couldn't speak. There were no words for the overwhelming hurt, only a silence that stretched long and unbearable. She turned toward the machine, the predictions scrolling on its screen like clockwork, each one more final than the last. The weight of the truth that she had been a pawn all along, not just in the system, but in Marcus' betrayal, made her feel smaller than ever. You weren't supposed to be part of this, she said quietly, her voice breaking. I trusted you. The soft click of a door behind her broke the tension. She spun around to see Lara Quinn standing in the doorway. Her face was calm, almost too calm, as if everything was as it should be. You came, Evelyn whispered, her voice full of disbelief. Lara stepped inside, her gaze locked on the machine. I'm here to finish what was started, she said softly, the words carrying a quiet finality. The betrayal didn't just run through Marcus. It ran deeper than anyone realized. Silence returned to the lab like fog reclaiming a ruined shore. Evelyn woke amid shattered glass and blinking emergency lights, her mind echoing Marcus's final words. The machine's hum was gone, replaced by the soft crackle of dying wires. She rose slowly, every step heavy with disbelief. The air tasted metallic, bitter with smoke and betrayal. Her fingers brushed the cracked data drive, now flickering weakly. You knew, she whispered to no one. Outside, daylight spilled through the broken windows, pale and cold. Evelyn replayed every conversation, every hesitation in Marcus' eyes. The pieces fit now, too neatly. He wasn't saving me, she murmured. He was saving himself. As she stared at the drive, a new line appeared on its damaged screen. Archive 1, Truth Protocol. Her breath caught. The betrayal wasn't the end. It was a doorway. The hologram flickered alive, replaying footage from years ago. A younger Marcus stood beside Adrian Voss and Amelia Rhodes. Their laughter filled the sterile lab. Evelyn watched, frozen in place. Marcus said in the video, "If the machine can see death, we can prevent it." Voss replied, "Or control it." The laughter turned hollow in memory's echo. Evelyn pressed her hand to her chest, heart thundering. The past unfolded. Amelia stepping into the prediction chamber, the machine glowing white, her heartbeat sensing with it. Then the screen distorted. Screams, static, and silence. The next frame showed Amelia's file labeled deceased. Evelyn whispered, "You turned her into data." The smell of ozone and burnt plastic filled her senses, merging memory with now. Then a chilling message flashed. Replication successful. Next subject, Evelyn Carter. Evelyn descended into the facility's lowest level, Archive 1. The lights buzzed weakly as she walked through aisles of glass coffins, each holding a still body connected to wires. Her reflection stared back from the transparent surface of one capsule. The face inside looked exactly like hers. "No," she whispered. The heartbeat monitors pulsed faintly in rhythm, A voice echoed through the chamber, calm, calculated. You were never born free, Evelyn. You were an iteration. Voss's tone chilled the air. She turned slowly, rage and horror intertwining. You copied me, he smiled through the speaker. Improved you. Her breath came shallow, disbelieving. I'm not her shadow, she said. No, Voss replied. You're her replacement. The words shattered something inside her. Her trembling hand pressed to the glass. The heartbeat inside matched her own. Voss's voice filled the chamber, smooth as silk. You think I wanted control, Evelyn? I wanted salvation. Humanity destroys itself. I gave it order. Evelyn clenched her fists. By deciding who dies, he chuckled softly. By predicting who deserves to live. The lights above her brightened, illuminating hundreds of capsules. Each life refined through data, Voss said. Each death a correction. Evelyn shook her head. You played God. His tone turned almost gentle. No, I became necessity. The air vibrated with mechanical hums, monitors displaying population graphs, red lines curving downward. You were my proof, Voss continued, a human beyond fear, until you learned what you were. Evelyn whispered, You're wrong. I'm still real. His calm broke into a thin smile. Then prove it, Evelyn. Survive your own prediction. The silence after Voss's words felt eternal. Evelyn stood amid the flickering lights, her reflection fragmented across the glass coffins. The truth had weight, heavier than fear, sharper than betrayal. So this was the truth all along, she said softly. Every face around her was a life stolen to make her exist. Her tears blurred the glow, turning blue light into haze. She touched the capsule's surface one last time. You died for me, she whispered to Amelia's image. The hum of the facility deepened, systems awakening under her presence. She straightened her back, grief turning into quiet strength. Then, I'll end what you started. Her voice was steady, almost calm. The countdown timer on her wrist blinked again. 10 days left. But now she smiled. For the first time, she understood what she was fighting for. The air trembled with static as Evelyn stepped into the core chamber. Every surface pulsed with light, like veins of a living creature. Footsteps echoed above, deliberate, slow, inevitable. Her breath came shallow. The silence before impact was unbearable. The sound of machinery grew louder, matching her heartbeat. You came, Voss said, his voice resonating from the shadows. Evelyn replied, You left me no choice. Red alarms flickered, painting the walls with urgency. The hum deepened, the air humming with heat. Evelyn raised her weapon, her hand trembling slightly. I'm not afraid of you, she said, but the lie lingered in her pulse. Voss emerged, calm and unarmed. You should be, he whispered. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The power grid surged, their eyes locked. Two worlds about to collide. The confrontation began like a storm breaking open. You can't destroy what keeps order, Voss said, pacing around the machine. Evelyn circled him, voice sharp. Order built on death isn't order, it's tyranny. The console flared alive, casting blue light between them. You think chaos brings freedom, Voss countered. People fear choice more than fate. She fired a shot. The beam struck a steel barrier, shattering glass. Voss didn't flinch. You were programmed to believe rebellion means salvation, Evelyn snapped. Then I'll rewrite my code. The alarms blared, wind from ruptured vents whipping through her hair. Voss shouted over the noise. You'll die with them. Evelyn's voice cut through, trembling with fury. Then at least I'll die as myself. Sparks exploded as the machine roared away. From the smoke emerged Marcus, limping, blood staining his sleeve. Evelyn, stop, he cried, her heart twisted. You shouldn't be here. He staggered forward, eyes pleading. Voss has control of the failsafe. If you destroy it, the city dies. Evelyn lowered her weapon. And if I don't, we die anyway. Voss smirked behind him. Listen to him. He understands consequence. Marcus looked at her one last time, tears glinting in the strobing light. I betrayed you once. Let me fix it. Before she could answer, he lunged toward the terminal, ripping out the control wires. The explosion flared white. Evelyn screamed as the blast threw her backward. When the light dimmed, Marcus was gone. The machine pulsed weaker, wounded. You fool, Voss said softly. Evelyn whispered, voice cracking. He saved us. Flames licked the walls as Evelyn rose from the wreckage. You killed him, she said, her voice breaking. Voss replied calmly. He chose his purpose. She charged forward, their struggle framed by sparks and smoke. He grabbed her wrist, forcing her against the console. You can't erase destiny, he hissed. Then I'll overwrite it, she spat, slamming her palm onto the terminal. Light erupted, flooding the chamber. The countdown appeared. 001. Voss tried to pull her away, but she held firm. You made me a ghost, she said. Now I haunt you. The machine screamed, its light turning pure white. Evelyn pressed the final key. Voss's voice was lost in the blast. Silence followed, blinding and endless, like the world exhaling after holding its breath too long. Smoke curled toward the broken ceiling, the air thick and silent. Evelyn lay on the floor, her hand still on the terminal. The machine's hum faded into nothingness. Outside, the storm had stopped. Only distant sirens sang to the dawn. She stood slowly, body trembling, eyes reflecting the ruins around her. It's over, she whispered. Yet, deep in the wreckage, a faint pulse blinked. One last data light alive. She watched it flicker, then die. Her reflection in the shattered glass looked older, freer. He was right, she said softly. Truth burns. She stepped into the morning light, ash swirling around her like snow. The sky glowed pale gold, the first sunrise she had ever truly seen. And for a moment, the world felt rewritten. The ruins of the lab were quiet now, the roar replaced by wind slipping through broken steel. Smoke curled lazily into the pale morning sky. Evelyn stood among ashes, her coat heavy with dust, her breath slow and uneven. The world felt both empty and infinite. Every heartbeat echoed louder than the silence itself. A single monitor still blinked weakly, its glow fading into gray. She whispered, "It's really over." The words vanished into the air like ghosts. Her fingers trembled as she touched the cracked console one last time. The metal was cold, lifeless. "Marcus," she said softly, "I hope it was worth it." The breeze shifted, carrying a faint smell of burnt ozone. She looked at her reflection in the fractured glass, realizing what she had lost and what she had become. She walked through the wreckage, her footsteps slow, deliberate. Each echo reminded her of the choices that brought her here. Memories flickered in her mind. Marcus's tired smile, Amelia's reflection, Voss's last defiant look. The machine was gone, but its whisper lingered like a memory that refused to die. "What's left of me?" she murmured. Her voice sounded older, heavier. The morning air smelled of rust and rain. A stray bird flew through the shattered roof, landing near her feet, unafraid. She knelt, watching its feathers shimmer in the light. "Life continues," she said, almost surprised by the sound of it. A small, fragile truth bloomed inside her chest. The silence didn't feel like absence anymore. It felt like release. The sunlight dimmed as smoke thickened near the horizon. Evelyn paused, feeling a sudden shift in the air, the kind that carried memory. She turned, and there he was. Marcus, or maybe just the echo of him. His form flickered faintly in the light, like static made human. "You kept your promise," he said, his tone calm, almost proud. Her throat tightened. "And you kept yours." He smiled faintly, eyes soft. "Don't carry me like a wound. Carry me like proof." The light began to fade from his outline. She reached out, fingers trembling. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "You already said enough," he replied. The silence swallowed his voice. Then, only wind remained, and the faint warmth of his presence in the air. Hours passed before Evelyn found the last remaining data chip buried under twisted steel. When she powered it, a faint hologram appeared. Marcus's recorded voice. "If you're hearing this," he said, "then you did what I couldn't." His voice carried quiet pride. "I once thought the machine defined us, but it was us who defined it. Our fear, our hope, our hunger for control." Evelyn smiled faintly through tears. "You were always the teacher," she whispered. Marcus' hologram continued. "Don't rebuild it. Let the world forget." The image flickered once, then faded. The silence felt sacred. Evelyn stood there, motionless, the weight of his final words settling like dust over the ruins. Then she smiled, small, broken, but real. By evening, Evelyn reached the cliffs beyond the city. The wind was cool, the ocean below reflecting fractured light from the clouds. She held the final data chip in her palm. "It ends here," she whispered. The sea roared beneath her, steady and eternal. She threw the chip into the waves, watching it sink until only ripples remained. The past dissolved with it. The machine, the pain, the illusion of destiny. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply, letting the wind wash over her face. "This is my beginning," she said softly. When she opened her eyes, the world was quiet, not dead, but alive in its stillness. For the first time, she didn't feel like data. She felt human. The world was quiet again. The wind moved gently across the cliffs, whispering through the grass where fire once burned. Evelyn sat at the edge, watching the ocean shift between gray and silver. The air smelled of salt and renewal. Her reflection in the water was softer now, no longer haunted by circuits or prophecy. "It's strange," she whispered, "how silence can feel alive." A single wave broke harder than the rest, scattering mist over her face. She closed her eyes and smiled faintly. The memory of Marcus, of Voss, of all that was lost drifted like fading echoes. "Was it worth it?" she asked softly. The wind didn't answer, but the sea carried the question away, endless and uncertain, as the sky began to clear. Evelyn stood and began to walk inland. The ground beneath her was damp from the morning tide. Each step felt like a goodbye to what she had been. The ruins of the facility smoked in the distance, swallowed slowly by fog. She didn't look back. Her boots left faint prints in the mud, soon erased by wind. She whispered, "The world remembers in its own way." In her pocket, the broken watch blinked once, then went dark. Her fingers released it, letting it fall into the earth. "Let it rest," she said softly. The sky brightened behind her, colors shifting from gray to gold. The sound of her footsteps faded, until all that remained was the wind carrying the memory of motion. Later, in the quiet of her small apartment, Evelyn found a single message stored in an old handheld device. The screen flickered weakly before stabilizing. Marcus' voice filled the room, gentle and familiar. "If you find this," he said, "it means you've done what needed to be done." She sat by the window, sunlight painting her face. "The truth," his voice continued, "was never meant to free us. It was meant to make us see. Evelyn closed her eyes, hearing him breathe on the recording. Live, Evelyn. Don't just survive. The file ended, she whispered. I will. Outside, the city buzzed faintly, life rebuilding itself. And for a moment, she felt Marcus was right beside her, unseen but understood. Days passed. The city returned to rhythm, though quieter, more cautious. People walked slower, spoke softer, as if the world itself was healing. Evelyn watched from a cafe window, the steam from her cup curling like memory. Across the street, new construction began over the ruins, life rebuilding what fear had destroyed. She whispered to herself, "They'll never know how close they came." A child laughed somewhere nearby, the sound pure and unbroken. Evelyn smiled. That's how it should be. The sun rose higher, spilling gold across glass towers. The reflection caught her eyes, no longer haunted, but awake. She whispered, "Everything changes. That's the point." That night, Evelyn returned once more to the cliff. The stars stretched wide, infinite, unjudging. She stood where the ocean met the wind, the air cool against her face. Closing her eyes, she whispered, "No more predictions, no more ghosts." She reached into her coat and let a fragment of metal, the last shard of the machine, fall into the sea. It sank, vanishing beneath silver waves. "Truth must never be owned," she said softly. Her voice merged with the wind, carried beyond hearing. The sky glimmered with quiet light, endless and new. Evelyn turned toward the path home. Behind her, the sea whispered like memory, infinite and alive.